Support WrestleTalk!
See WrestleTalk live in London by clicking the link below.
Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk News. I'm Luke Owen, and as you might have guessed by looking at the runtime for this episode, today's WrestleTalk News is what Ollie Davis would call a super news, but I have dubbed Mecha News. Coming up, we'll be talking about the real reason Daniel Bryan pulled out of the controversial Crown Jewel show, an update on Ring of Honor versus Impact Wrestling, and New Japan offering contracts to WWE talent. But before we get into all of that, we would like to send a big congratulations out to AJ Styles, who has now broken Diesel's record to become the 10th longest reigning WWE champion of all time. Styles won the belt prior to Survivor Series last year from Jinder Mahal. Yeah, remember when Jinder Mahal was the WWE champion? And has now held the belt for 360 days. That means that if Styles can overcome Samoa Joe later today, he will be just 4 days behind Hulk Hogan's 364-day run and 11 days behind Randy Savage's 371-day reign. Also ahead of Styles is John Cena with 381 days and CM Punk with 434 days, which is more impressive than his MMA record. If Styles wants to topple Punk's number, he'll need to hold on to the belt until the middle of January 2019, though it's unlikely he'll break into the top 5, which consists of Pedro Morales holding the belt for 1,027 days, Bruno Sammartino for 1,237, Hogan again for 1,474, Bob Backlund for 2,135, and Sammartino again for 2,803 days. And Styles could be part of the names in a new report from Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio. Over the last few weeks, there have been a lot of stories about several big names from New Japan who are unhappy about working there. Among the rumored names include the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Cody, and Hangman Page, with Cody revealing on Twitter that he will not be a part of New Japan and Ring of Honor's history-making show at Madison Square Garden in April next year. All of those names have since been linked to WWE, and it has been reported that Vince & Co. have made some big money offers to bring them into the company. But it looks like New Japan isn't taking this news lying down. According to Meltzer on the latest Wrestling Observer Radio, New Japan have made some big offers themselves to names within WWE. Offers that Meltzer has called surprising. He added one person who is there got an offer for ridiculous money for way less dates, and it very much surprised me. This would be one of the top guys in WWE. Meltzer, of course, doesn't add who those names are, but one would assume it would include former New Japan stars AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, the latter of which was reportedly on NJPW's radar to bring back. Meltzer adds New Japan are willing to pay real big money like they did with Chris Jericho. And speaking of Chris Jericho, it looks like his Rock and Wrestling Rager at Sea was a huge success, with some fans on the crew saying it was the best wrestling weekend they'd ever been to. SWAF Nation member Chris Smith sent us an email to say, "The weekend was amazing, the wrestling was great, the live music was fun, the cruise ship was awesome, and the activities were numerous." However, he did add, the meets and greets were poorly organized as the crew clearly underestimated the capacity of the venues, but otherwise it was all great. But forget about all that, because Chris Smith has become my favorite member of the SWAF Nation for sending in this video.
Support WrestleTalk, home of Luke Owen. Whatever WrestleTalk is and whoever Luke Owen is, quote the Raven, nevermore.
Oh my god, Raven just said my name. Raven just said my name. I mean, he doesn't know who I am, but he said my name. Chris, you're also the worst because you filmed a portrait and not landscape, but never mind that. Raven said my name. Raven said my name. But one of the big stories coming off the cruise, however, is the announcement that Impact World Champion Johnny Impact and Ring of Honor Champion Jay Lethal have agreed to a champion versus champion match. This is something Impact and ROH have been working on for some time by all reports, but no time or place has been announced for the match, although it has been confirmed that neither title will be on the line. Dave Meltzer has also reported in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter that Johnny Impact has signed on with Impact Wrestling until the end of 2019.
We still have to wonder who that new individual is with the Desi Hit Squad. We'll talk more about that when they're in action later. Willie Mack is hitting all angles.
Wow, great flexibility by Mack.
Willie Mack. Oh!
Now, I mean, that's That's his whole lot.
That was this week's Impact Slam of the Week, where Willie Mack ran wild on his Bound for Glory tag team partner Rich Swann. Seriously, that cannonball was freaking fantastic. But what is the latest news on former Impact World Champion Austin Aries? Aries lost the championship to Johnny Impact at Bound for Glory last month, which ended in some controversy when Aries got up right after the 3 count, flipped off color commentator and Impact director Don Callis, and stormed to the back. Aries wasn't a part of the following set of Impact tapings, with several reports saying that he was officially done with the company. Impact Wrestling producer P.T. Williams told Wrestling Perspective podcast, Austin Aries' contract is done. That match was his last match under contract with Impact. And Dave Meltzer has noted in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter that the contract for Austin Aries has indeed expired, but added the company is very high on him and my sense is he'll be back. After Bound for Glory, it was reported that Aries had returned to Las Vegas, which coincidentally is where Impact will be doing their next set of tapings from. Several reports have noted that if Aries is not a part of those tapings, it is very likely he'll be completely done with the company. And before we get into our main story of Daniel Bryan's reasons for pulling out of Crown Jewel and the frankly bonkers plans WWE had to keep him a part of the show, it's time for my new weekly segment. And in this inaugural Wrestlers You Know in Films You Probably Don't Know, I thought we would celebrate last Sunday's Evolution pay-per-view by talking about a 2014 film called Confessions of a Womanizer. Wait. Now that sounds really bad. A film which stars everyone's favorite female wrestlers that look alike, the Bella Twins. The film is about a sex addict that falls for a woman named Patricia, but also has a love-hate relationship with the twins who work at the diner he regularly visits with co-star Gary Busey. Yes, sorry I didn't mention Gary Busey is also in this film. And those twins are of course played by Nikki and Brie Bella, credited under their real names Nicole and Brianna Garcia. The film won several film festival awards, including Best Film at the Los Angeles Underground Film Festival, and received such glowing reviews such as Worth a Look by Renegade Cinema and Pleasant by Mountain Express. I reached out to the film's director Miguel Ali, who told me, casting the Bella Twins was the most intelligent decision I made in making the movie. Adding Nikki and Brianna gave us such tremendous star power. Of everyone on the set, Nikki and Brianna were the two most down-to-earth people. Nikki especially has God-given acting talent. She really was one of the most talented actresses I've ever worked with, and I really do think she could go far if she wanted to pursue it further. I mean, yeah, she really is sticking to this I've broken up with John Cena angle, so maybe he has a point about her being a good actor. Today, WWE will air their controversial Crown Jewel pay-per-view from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, a show that has been mired in fan outrage since Greatest Royal Rumble, which ended up looking more like propaganda than an actual wrestling show. And more recently, the show has come under scrutiny after the murder of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi by the Saudi government for writing critical things about them. It was that piece of news that nearly got the show completely cancelled late last month, with several high-level politicians urging WWE to move the show to a different location. But even with those mounting pressures, WWE announced they would still be going ahead with Crown Jewel and continuing their 10-year deal with the Saudi government that is netting the company $400 million. It had been reported prior to the announcement they were moving ahead with the show that John Cena and Daniel Bryan were very unhappy about working Crown Jewel and both wanted to pull out. Robbie Fox of Barstool Sports was the first to report this news, which was confirmed when Cena was replaced in the World Cup by Bobby Lashley and Daniel Bryan had his WWE Championship match 3 days earlier than planned, tapping out clean to AJ Styles on Tuesday SmackDown Live. Unsurprisingly, it's been speculated that Cena dropped out of the show in an effort to help his transition from wrestling to Hollywood by distancing himself from any controversy. The Daniel Bryan story, if reports from Dave Meltzer are to be believed, is far more interesting. Meltzer writes in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter that Bryan had been uneasy about doing another Saudi Arabia show after Greatest Royal Rumble. According to Meltzer, he did the first show in April people, like most of the roster, with little or no knowledge of what it was about. They were told it was a big show, but they weren't told it would be a long propaganda commercial. Evidently, Bryan, who knew little or nothing about Saudi Arabia until he got there, largely felt he couldn't go back under those circumstances. It wasn't so much that the women weren't allowed to perform, even though he's married to a woman wrestler and has a sister-in-law who wrestles, but the key was that he learned about the treatment of homosexuals and also that they wouldn't allow Sami Zayn to perform on the show due to his Syrian heritage, and he considered that racism. Daniel Bryan's crown jewel match was set up when he beat Miz at Super Showdown in Melbourne, Australia, but Meltzer reports that he actually requested to lose that match. He had told Vince McMahon that he would not be doing crown jewel, and they both agreed to keep it a secret, which it remained until Robbie Fox reported it 7 days later. But here is where things get very interesting. According to The Observer, there were several plans in place on how to handle the Daniel Bryan situation. Apparently, the plan was to record something at a technology center which was near the WWE Performance Center. There, they would film an empty arena match ahead of time that could be inserted into the show, or perform it live and broadcast it on the network, not in front of the Saudi audience in attendance for the show. Now, the incredible part of this plan is that the technology center, according to Meltzer, works the same as a green screen. Now, I'm recording this news in front of a green screen at the moment. There isn't really a blue wall behind me with white swishes and whatnot. So, for example, if I wanted to pretend I was in Disney World, I could. Hey, look at me, I'm in Disney World. Let's all go to the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Or maybe I'd want to go visit Australia. Good day, mate. Shrimps and wallabies, Super Showdown, eh? Let's do other terrible stereotypes. Or I could be magically whisked away to Delaware. Hi, I'm in Delaware. So, and this seems absolutely crazy to talk about, rather than film it as an empty arena match with no crowd reaction, they would utilize the green screen capabilities and make it appear to be taking place in Saudi Arabia. Yes, according to Dave Meltzer, WWE very nearly hosted the first ever green screen match. They may as well have had someone play the match on WWE 2K19 and told the Crown Prince it was real. Sadly, we're not going to see that first ever green screen match anytime soon, as the decision was changed and the match was moved to SmackDown Live, with Bryan losing to AJ Styles via the calf crusher. Meltzer says that he doesn't know if this was supposed to be some sort of punishment for Bryan pulling out of the show, but does add it's hard to believe that all wasn't a message to the rest of the talent. And you can check out our predictions for Crown Jewel by clicking the video on screen right now. And make sure you get your tickets to see WrestleTalk live in London in a couple of weeks. I've been Luke Owen, and that was Mecca Wrestling.